My girl, Candace Parker has risked life, limb, and club membership to speak out on the absurdity of the WNBA players, specifically in this case when it comes to Caitlin Clark and All-Star voting. Now look, I get she's got a little more leeway than others because she checks a lot of the WNBA boxes. Okay? She is tan. She's very tan. So, that's a box. She is part of the letter mob. That's a box. And as an extra bonus to the letter mob, she switched teams after she was an adult. Correct me if I'm wrong, being married. I believe I have that right correctly, correct? To a man. So she does have a lot of leeway, but we also know that when you are in the club and you speak out on something on which the club does not agree, even if it's just one thing. Look at the treatment of J.K. Rowling, as left as it comes on every issue but one. But the left wants to destroy her because of that one thing. So you have to really appreciate when someone like this speaks out against the narrative because it is not easy for them to do so. Anyway, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for being here. Truly appreciate all your support. Like, comment, subscribe if you're enjoying the content. Make sure you are still subscribed. There's a notification bell. You can hype on mobile. I'm sure YouTube will add a few other things in the future as well. All right, let's dig in. Candace Parker talking with Aaliyah Boston regarding the voting for Caitlin Clark. I will break this up a little bit because I want to react to some things and do some deeper dives into it, and it is about 2.5 minutes. So let's dig into this.
I wholeheartedly believe that there needs to be some rules with the WNBA players because this is getting out of hand. Caitlin Clark voted 11th best guard by WNBA players. That's crazy. Kelsey Plum finished 12th in player rank, but she be percolating all over your defense.
First of all, I like that. I'm a word guy. I know it doesn't always sound like it because a lot of this is off the top of my head, but I appreciate, and I've had these conversations with people, vocabulary. I like that turn of phrase by Candace Parker. I'm going to shout it out for props. She'd be percolating all over your defense. 100%. Love it. But now I want to point out one thing before we get into it, because I know I'll get somebody who talks about that. Because a lot of people who are trying to defend the player voting are like, oh, well, they didn't actually vote her 11 because they only voted for the top 4. And this means Caitlin Clark got the 11th most votes being in the top 4. Yes, which means players 5 through 10 got the 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th, 10th most votes for top 4, which basically means Caitlin Clark was still 11th in voting for the top 4. Doesn't change anything, folks. I'm just saying, let's keep going. As you can tell, Candace Parker is a little incredulous on this happening. Don't even get me started on Kelsey Plum being 12th.
You be chasing her downhill off screen.
It's unserious work.
It's kind of crazy. Like I wholeheartedly believe that you should not be able to vote for your own teammates. Because even in the NBA, it got crazy. Like last year, like Bronny received so many votes for like All-Star. It's just, I don't know if the players should. Do you think the players should have a vote? Or you think their vote should be like, I don't understand the weight. How does the weight work?
I mean, I think most of it is literally fan votes and media votes. And obviously, I don't know the exact weight, but I think it's just hard because like players aren't gonna, for example, I feel like if you're already high up in the fan voting or whatever, they're not gonna they're not voting for you. For the players.
So what were you? What were you in player vote?
I was 8th.
You were 8th?
A couple of things. I think in this instance, they're doing their best to call out the players, but also defend them. because I think we all know that players voting for teammates would not have changed Caitlin Clark's position at all. And also, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but this is my understanding, right? They didn't separate out centers or power forwards or small forwards, right? We had guards, 4 votes, bigs, 6 votes. So Aaliyah Boston being 8th, while they're going to, react to it, Candace react to it like, oh my God, not nearly the same as, because of all the players that are lumped together. If you tell me Aaliyah Boston is 8th and you're including all front court players, it's not that bad. Think of all the players that you know of that are front court players in the WNBA. And that's actually not a knock on Aaliyah Boston. You could make the case that maybe she's a little higher, but that is not like Caitlin Clark at 11. And I will say all this, Aaliyah Boston. I think saying, oh, like, what is the basis for believing players aren't going to vote for players who are high in the fan voting? I don't. You vote for the players you think deserve it. I don't understand that connection at all. That sounds a little bit of I'm going to try and defend the players a little bit here. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me.
See, this further proves, I just name another, no, for real.
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm being honest. I think they just, if it's if you're already high up, they're why would I vote for you? And plus people have their,
No, I don't know, because
No,
this
you
is
do
just
know.
being stupid.
Now there it is. See, this is what's interesting because a lot of people, including me, have gotten on Aaliyah Boston because she seems very soft on the court when it comes to defending Caitlin Clark, and she seems kind of soft in terms of not ever being vocal or speaking out when it comes to Caitlin Clark. This is kind of for me it's like I want to be annoyed that she's just going, well, and you do know, and not actually going into any detail. But on the other hand, it's so obvious that we all do know, and this is maybe the most I've ever heard Aaliyah Boston say or insinuate, infer in that manner that, hey, this is not about basketball when it comes to the voting for Caitlin Clark. Does that make sense? Right? I'm kind of on the fence on how I feel about the way Aaliyah Boston is being cryptic here because it's kind of the most we've gotten from her. And this kind of cryptic is enough because it is so obvious. Although Candace Parker wants to continue to lay into the players, so she's not gonna be sidetracked about. Oh, I know. I'm just gonna call out their nonsense that's so obvious to everyone.
When I sat down, as much as I did not like Diana Taurasi, there ain't no way I'm not gonna write her as an all-star person. Right?
No, but
as much as I did not like anybody on the Lynx because they used to whoop our ass, I'm not going to not put Maya Moore or Sylvia Fowles or I don't know. I think people need to look at themselves in the mirror and realize man, you got some insecurities if you sitting down and putting Caitlin Clark as the 11th best guard.
Mocking y'all fools. And by the way, again, a little bit of credit to Aaliyah Boston, just sliding that in there while Candace is talking about, oh, they wouldn't, referring to the players today and voting for Caitlin Clark. Because Candace is right. A true competitor who's going to be judging on talent is absolutely not going to not vote for Caitlin Clark because of all these other reasons, because they don't like her fan base, because they're jealous of her popularity. But to Aaliyah's point, they wouldn't. Yeah, this generation of players, this soft, entitled, wrapped in a bubble, handed everything, participation trophy, cannot be allowed to be criticized generation of players. Yeah, they absolutely are going to vote on their emotion and vote on their feelings and vote on their petty jealousy. And as Candace said, y'all need to grow up and look in the damn mirror because you're the problem with your league.
Y'all need to go to a therapist and figure out what childhood issues you have. Because if you're sitting there and looking at yourself in the mirror and putting her as 11th best guard, and you're putting you as 8th best, come on. And Kelsey Plum is the 12th. Now, maybe games because she's been hurt. This is crazy.
Crazy. It is crazy, Candace Parker. It absolutely is Crazy. And I, for one, appreciate you calling out the players in this way and just flat out laughing at them and mocking them and telling them to take a look in the mirror and check out their childhood trauma that turns them into petty, vindictive, jealous little babies, spoiled brats who refuse to vote for someone who deserves a spot in the top four at All Star because of feels, right? That's what this is all about. So, in a way, I'm kind of glad Aaliyah Boston didn't go further into the obvious. I'm kind of glad Candace Parker kept it very much on just y'all are idiots who are insecure instead of getting into the weeds and the details of the reasons we know that they have done this because in this particular instance with Candace Parker doing it, I think it can actually be more effective. Mockery Mockery done right can go a long, long way in being an effective weapon. So, anyway, I thought it was good to see Candace Parker do this. I'm going to give a little credit to Aaliyah Boston. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. As always, truly appreciate you being here. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe if you haven't already. I appreciate it. I will talk to you later.